RC Underground Radio is your go-to podcast for everything RC.
Do you guys realize how much it costs to be friends with this dude?
Whether you're a dedicated racer or just getting started in the hobby, this is your show. Each episode features top-notch guests, industry leaders, and you, the racer. It's a community where listeners can learn, connect, and grow their passion for RC racing. So, grab your transmitter, buckle up, and join us on RC Underground Radio.
Say words.
Here are your hosts, Dave Brinkman, TJ Greer, and Ryan Ratzloff.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to RC Underground Radio Week 3. It's already, we're already climbing our way to our 100th episode. It's going to be way down the road a bit, but yeah, we're clipping them off quick. Tonight, I'm kind of running solo. No TJ, no Ryan. But luckily, I got really good guests, so somebody's going to carry this show, and it's not going to be me. I'll tell you that much. So please welcome from Twisted Lanes Drift Circuit, we've got Corey and Ashley Werntz. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on. It's good to come and talk to you.
When did you all of a sudden wake up one morning and go, you know what? I think we're gonna build a drifting track. What do you think, Ashley? You know, how did that conversation start?
I mean, we've been into RC. Well, you've been into it pretty much your whole life. I started working at Hobbytown 13 years ago.
Hobbytown of Rockford.
Hobbytown of Rockford, USA.
Around.
Yes.
If you ever get a chance, come check it out.
Yes. So I started working there 13 and a half years ago. I met him, and that's how we actually got into RC together.
I started it back in the 80s when I was little. My parents got divorced. My dad goes, hey, you guys want to drive some RC cars? Well, we had the Tycos and all those that every little kid has. And so he bought us some Kyosho's from Tower Hobbies back in the day. We're like, ooh. So we started racing at the local off-road track and kind of got out of it after we got a little bit older and started playing with real cars and stuff. And then got older, started go-kart racing, and that got expensive. So we're like, let's start something else, because we always loved racing, everything about it, from watching on TV to doing it. So we decided, what the heck, let's play with these RC cars. And we built an off-road track with our buddy's dad had some Bobcats and some equipment that we could build one. So we built an off-road track at his dad's house, and people started coming over. So then we actually built Race 'em RC back in the day, probably close to 20 years ago, and was here for about 15 years, but the racing circuit died out around here. So then once we had nothing else to do, we started playing around with drift cars, and then we realized maybe about 3.5 years ago, hey, these rear-wheel drive ones are starting to take off. Let's go check them out. Yeah. So I got my first kit probably almost 3 years ago, and I was like, I'm determined. I'm going to get good at this. One way or another, I'm going to get good at this. So I put cones outside in front of our house in the street and practiced every night at least one battery until it was dark. And over and ask her over and over. And then our daughter started goofing around with them. Then she got one. And then being that she works she's the manager at Hobbytown, we're like, why don't we have a little event in the parking lot? And the owner was like, yeah, that's no problem. So we had maybe a handful of us up there, and then
we would set up. It'd be like on a Sunday, because we were closed Sundays after COVID. So we would we'd set up Sunday morning, and then drift until dark, and then tear down and get the kids up ready for school. Well, kid at the time, because we have two daughters now.
Okay.
So we started just setting up the track, tear down, do it all over again like the next weekend, or we'd wait like 2 weeks. We would do some Saturday night and some Sundays, which was the downfall is we had to tear down. So finally, our one of our really good friends and one of our sponsors, Crazy Joe's Wraps, he had his shop in polished concrete indoors, and he's like, you're more than welcome to set up a track here once a month. We're like, all right, cool. So
that was last November?
That was October, November of last year.
Because it was getting cold and we couldn't do it outside anymore anyway. So we're like, let's try it here. So we set up a track there, and we did it on just a Saturday. We set up Friday night, had it all day Saturday, and tore down
Sunday.
And then First one was a pretty good hit. We had maybe around 30, 40 guys
Yeah,
show
like
up.
30 guys.
And then
Wow.
the next one got bigger and bigger, and he moved into a shop over where we have the track now. And so we're once a month hosting events where they're Saturdays and Sundays. So Friday night after he got done with his work, we tore his whole shop apart, moved everything, and set up an entire track, put all the scale stuff out, swept, mopped the floor obviously before, got it all prepped to put all the walls down and everything. We usually got it done Friday nights, probably about midnight, 1 o'clock, and then had to be back there like 8 o'clock in the morning because we usually start around
10. We were doing driving school, so like for beginners to come out that had never drifted before or that had very little experience to come out and just practice with like no experienced drivers on the track. That made it more comfortable for them.
Sure.
So we were doing that. And then finally, we were like, we need our own place that we could be open, not all the time, but
more than once a week. More than once a month.
Yeah,
for our
exactly.
events.
So when we wound up finding where we're at now, and we've been here for 5 months pretty much, and we're still going.
It's just been a domino effect because of her working at the store. People go in there and like, hey, I got a question about drifting. She's like, I got an answer.
Yep.
And then they start talking, and then next thing you know, she's like, all right, well, now you have the card. Come on down and check out the track. And then they come, and they're like, well, now I have to get my friend into it. So they bring their friend in. It's just been a snowball.
We also have rental cars, too.
So if somebody can't afford the budget of jumping into one, come on out here. And if you mention that you watch this podcast, let us know that, and we'll give you a free rental.
Look at that. It's like Christmas in October.
Exactly.
Warning, though. Once you drive one, you're going to be hooked. That happens to everybody.
That's right.
It does.
Right. So how about you, Ashley? Do you run the drift cars at all?
Of course. There's a Midwest Drift series going on between us and 2 other tracks. So we're kind of traveling.
We have 3 events a month between the 3 tracks. We have 1 weekend off. The other 3 weekends, one's at Zero Traction in Indianapolis, and then the other one's at Drifting in Michigan City, Indiana. And then the other week is here.
Yep. So the first event was beginning of September, and I wound up taking top 8 out of 32 drivers. I didn't get to go to Zero, and then the last event was actually on Saturday at Drifting again. And same thing, I took top 8 out of 28 drivers. So
West Ales is hitting a drift track right now. They just got it last week.
They are working on it. I heard rumors of that.
Yep.
Our buddy Beto opened it up. It's called Casa Drift.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We'll have to do an episode down the road where get you guys, Ricky, get that gentleman on board. We'll just do a whole kind of drifting fest, drift mania.
The World of Wheels is a really good opportunity because everybody from around has all their different tracks set up. It's really cool to see everybody from all over because you talk to all these guys in the chat groups and see them in the different all over the internet, but you don't get to talk to them in person all the time. It's really cool those events.
I have to bring a buddy of mine I work with, Jake Bolter. He did that. He was on with us on those episodes.
On Ricky's episode.
Yeah. I'll grab him. I'll grab Jakey, and we'll both come.
We'll give you a free rental.
It doesn't have to be free. Just I just want to try it. I want to try it. I went to the RC drag race, and I was hoping somebody was going to say, "Here, you want to take a hit? Take a run?" And no, they didn't.
Well, you'll have to have Nick next time,
right?
Yeah. Be like, Nick, come on.
Really wanted to try that.
Once you know how to drive one of those, and you drive a higher end one or one that's set up, you're like, wow, this drives almost like itself. So
that's crazy. That's what I need.
Yeah.
The AI version.
The AI version.
Cool. Yeah. Maybe what I'll do is I'll bring, I don't know if you guys have ever, how much you follow or that, but we do some RC Underground, RCU road shows.
Oh, yeah.
We take the show to location. So let's plan for that. Let's plan.
That would be super cool.
Yeah. I'll bring the show there, and then we can interview some other people.
Oh, we'll have a killer turnout.
Yeah. So if you got a big event coming up, just keep me posted on when that is, and we'll make that happen. That'll be fun
for sure.
That'll be fun. Ashley, Corey, you guys have taken the big jump. You are in the deep end of the pool now. You've got your own place. You're running the business. So let's talk a little bit on the business side for a minute. Racing's always fun, but now we got to talk business a little bit. How many drivers does it take to make this not just work and pay the bills, but to make it successful for you as owners? What not getting into the numbers, obviously.
Right.
I get where you're going with this.
You know what I mean? Yeah, just tell me, what does it take? Because I think sometimes people don't realize, like they think, oh, okay, yeah, there's this place and it's cool and I get to go. But if they really kind of understand beyond the passion, they understand the involvement, maybe that's when they'll go, yeah, I'm going to go more often. And I am going to get some family members, or I'm going to get some friends to kind of start to do this, because I really like Corey and Ashley, and they're really pouring their heart and soul into it. And I like to race, so maybe I should race a little bit more and actually support. Not just attend,
right,
but support.
That's a lot of our clientele, to be honest.
Great.
They love, to be honest.
We call this this is our family. Everybody comes here for therapy, and we are one big family. And there is some days we have sat and not even drove cars and talked about family stuff with the guys. And then next thing we're like, we've been talking for an hour. We need to start driving. And I mean,
yeah, right.
It's just a good place to go. And that's what we thrive on, is we want it family oriented, because we have our 2 girls, one's going on 2 and the other one's 12, and they're with us all the time. So we made a whole kids area where they have a 65-inch big screen so they can watch movies on it. And it's all their own little world over there. So we make it family friendly and try and push that. That gets not just your hardcore drifters that are always going to be there and go where the track's at, but brings all this new clientele and new people in. And then those people, there's a lot of people that have come here and said, wow, I didn't know I could bring my kids. Next time I'll be back next week and I'll bring my kids. Mm-hmm. And our daughter plays with them. They all have fun. We were doing in the summertime a couple times. We have a projector we put out on the front of the building, and we have outdoor movies on Friday nights and popcorn and all that good stuff. So you got to make it fun for everybody. You got to keep it fresh. You got to change things up. You can't just say, hi, everybody, go ahead and drive around the track. Hi, everybody, drive around the track. Play different games. Get people interactive. Change up the music. Just keep things going different.
We also just added, so we had a 124th drift track, and we now had a 124th crawler course in our basement, which we'll carry this out in a little bit and show you what it looks like. But it's 10 foot by 5 foot.
No, it's bigger than that.
Somewhere around there.
Pretty good size.
So,
but it took up most of our basement because we had a huge train on it and everything. It was our COVID project. Well, lots of people here have 124 scale crawlers, so we're like, why don't we bring it here? And it's been a hit for the last week and a half that we've had it here. Everybody's been driving on it. So when their batteries are charging in between, they jump out there and drive. Yep. So you've got to have stuff for people to do. Another thing we added is we put 5 TVs in. 3 TVs. We put them in for last week so we could stream SDC,
Super G drift competition. Mm-hmm. So the Worlds was last weekend, and we had three local guys out there actually in the competition. So we wanted to support them, even though we couldn't, go out there and support them. So we got some TVs mounted up all throughout the track so everybody could sit and watch it. So it was really cool when they were actually out there and a couple other guys were out there. Everybody would stop and watch, and we had a huge crowd of people around. So, I mean, it's a big family, and we all support each other. And we have not had anybody leave here, even on competition days, mad. Mm-hmm. Everybody goes home in a happy mood. I mean, I've been to the off-road racing. I've been to the drag racing. You're always going to have people that are upset. It's racing. It just happens. But here, for some reason at drift tracks, it doesn't happen. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's happy. Everybody's willing to help each other out so their car is as fast as the guy next to them so they can bang doors together. Mm-hmm. And that's the best part, is everybody wants to help everybody.
So let me see. Let me see if I got this right now. I got to do the checklist. You got a drift track. Mm-hmm. You've got a hobby shop. Mm-hmm. You've got a kids area. Mm-hmm. You've got a climbing area for climbers. The fellowship is off the chart
It's a family.
So the only question I would have to anybody who's into drifting anywhere in the area is, why would you not go to this place? Like, I don't have a drift car, and I'm already looking at the map, looking at what I got open dates. I want to go. So if you've got drift cars, make this a for sure destination. This has got to be a bucket list track if you're into drifting. Even if you're not into drifting, like,
just come check it out.
People got to come see this. This is like an amusement park for RC cars.
We're only getting bigger. Our future goals is to have an indoor crawler course, because we have Rock Cut State Park, which is literally right down the street, and that's where there's people out there crawling every single day with their crawlers. So we want, once the drifting takes off enough that we can expand to a bigger building, our goal is to have an indoor rock crawling. We have
a lot of our clientele came from crawlers, and just us posting on Facebook. We post every day we're open. We do a Facebook reel and post, okay, we're open 5 to 10 or noon to midnight, whatever. Come and check us out. We got concession stands, food, drinks. Come hang out. And a lot of our friends were like, hey, we see your posts. We want to come check you out. And they'll come, and next thing they're like, all right, I'm addicted. Let's go. I'm gonna go up to Hobby Town. I'm gonna go get a drift car. So
Saturdays and Sundays are really good because we have a lot of people come from out of town, and they'll go out to Rock Cut and crawl for a few hours, and then they come out here and drift the rest of the day. It's
such a cool community, like you said, everybody's in it for the right reasons. Just have a good time.
And it definitely helps that we have Hobby Town of Rockford right down the street also, and that's probably one of the coolest hobby towns in the nation. Anybody that's been here from other places has absolutely been blown away how cool it is. So,
and is that because Ashley set the foundation?
I mean, I helped a little bit.
Everybody loves her that goes in there. She helps everybody. And she's a wizard when it comes to electronics on any form of remote, gyro, ESC. This girl can figure anything out and set it.
Yeah. Nice. I take pride in my customer service, and we've always taught our employees that, like, everybody walks into that door for a reason, whether they're not looking for something and they're just like, I've never been here before, or they are looking for something but they just don't know it yet. So
she's got it embedded in our 12-year-old's head. So when people come to the track, she just reacts. She's like, "Hey, how are you today?" And she sometimes carries her bag in for them. She's just nice. Friendly.
Nice.
Good to people.
Our youngest, she's a year and a half. She's almost 2, and she goes up to everybody. She's learned knuckles. So she knows to when we say goodbye, I'll take the girls home to go to bed to get ready for school in the morning, and he'll be here to close. And we're like, all right, let's say bye to everybody. So she knows to walk down the line and give knuckles to everybody.
Driving.
That's awesome.
And then if somebody doesn't do it right away, she kind of is like, oh.
Do you have a big race coming up?
Yes, it is October 19th. That is our next actual comp in that Midwest Drift Series. So last month, our first event here, we did 10 in the morning practice, and then we started comp at 2, but it actually got pushed back to 3 because we were running behind it as far as schedule, and some people were showing up late. So we're like, all right, well, we'll keep it open. We'll let a couple more people enter. It's no problem. So
cool.
I think we'll probably do that again. We'll just do like 10, 11 o'clock because we have some people coming from Indianapolis, so that's like a 4-hour drive, almost 5.
I'm saying this is another cool thing. We got a group of guys that comes down all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota to drive to our track.
Yep.
Wow.
And now they're getting ready to set up something up there because they have nothing, so they came down here. They've been picking our brain, and they absolutely love it. It's so much fun.
Take me through. So we already talked. If I show up to an event, I'm going to rent a car. Never did it before.
Yep.
So just say hypothetically, I come to this event. Like, you talked about the practice, right? What are they looking for in practice? Like, I'm an oval guy, right? I'm an oval, carpet, dirt, a little bit of dirt, mostly carpet or foam.
Yep.
So, my GPS just says turn left, turn left, turn left, turn left. So if I'm there to practice, what am I looking for? Am I just looking to get the feel of the track? Are there tire changes? Are there spring adjusts? Is there any of that kind of stuff that like relates to what I would have done on an oval that I'm looking to improve my car, or am I just trying to learn the track?
So, I mean, there is a couple things depending on the type of surface. Most tracks do have like a spec tire that you have to run. So like our tire is the Yokomo DRCs, which is like a carpet tire.
And it's a fairly common tire around the United States. A lot of people use them at their tracks.
Yep. So that is our spec tire. So that's kind of one of the first things we'll do is we'll check for tires and just say, hey, you do need our spec tire.
But at the same time, you don't have to worry about setting your car up for that tire. You don't have to go, what compound am I going to have to choose for this day?
Right.
That's the nice thing about going to the different tracks is everybody's got a set tire. And as far as suspension, depending on what surface you drove on last time, going from concrete to tile, there's a little bit of adjustment, but not too much. Maybe suspension, maybe adding a little weight here and there, taking a little weight off. Okay. But overall, your setup's not going to be much different.
Like, we started, I was drifting here, and we're a polished concrete, and then drift in is a P-tile. So when I went to their track, I didn't actually change anything. I just put their spec tire on and just drove. So, and
you learn the track because each track's different, obviously, and the grip consistency versus tile versus concrete is definitely different. And even some tiles are a little bit different depending on how much they wax them to. Some people just use a dust mop on them. It all depends.
Yep. So then once you kind of put like your spec tire on, the track spec tire on, a lot of times if you're practicing for a comp, there will be lines on the track. So on the inside of the corner or the outside of the corner.
Those are considered the zones.
And that's your zone. So what you're going to try to do then is you're going to want to focus on putting your car in that zone. So if the zone is in the outside of a corner, then you want your two rear tires. And if it's on the inside, you want both front tires. But a lot of times there might be like a barrier, so you don't want your tire to hit the barrier at all, because then that'll like dock you points.
Another thing nice about going to a competition is every place is very good about taking the time and grabbing a car and grabbing another car and going around the track and showing you exactly what each judge is going to be looking for.
Yep.
So everybody's on the same page because each track's judge a little bit different. Yep. I mean, for the most part, it's the same similar format, but everybody has different styles and they're able to, which is kind of cool in the drifting world because style, each person's different.
Mm-hmm.
So
and like what you're kind of like, what the judges are looking for, you'll have one judge for angle, one for style, and one for line. So the angle is the actual angle of your car going through the corner.
In the zone.
In the zone.
And then the line judge will see how long you stayed in that zone.
And make sure you're in the zone in general.
And then your style judge was when you come in, if you're shaking going like this into the zone, or if you just kind of flow into it nice and smooth, or how hard you whip it going into the corner, how soft it. It all depends, and each judge is different. Whoever's judging the style, this track's style judge might be different than this one. Mm-hmm. So that's why you go over it with everybody and say this is kind of what they're looking for.
Sure. Okay. So again, looking from the newbie perspective, I'm out there. I'm starting to practice. How long do you think it would take to go from ground zero to actually kind of being smooth and getting around the track? Is it what kind of timeline am I looking at?
I think it depends on the driver, really.
Your background makes a big difference.
Yep.
If you drove off-road racing or oval track or something that you have very good throttle control, this is your best driver friend right here. It's your throttle.
Okay.
Because going through that corner, you're moving at like sometimes a 16th of an inch. It's so minimal. It's insane. But it makes a difference.
But like somebody that's never driven before, they're gonna have have a little bit
do this through the corner,
bit harder of a time. But drifting is one of the hardest RC sports to grasp. But it's my favorite. It's like once people drive, they realize, okay, I really like this. Yeah, it took me a minute and I will admit, and he will admit, I sucked. I could not grasp it. And then all of a sudden, I would say, 4 months ago, finally I was like, okay, I got it.
I took our baby and I said, here, I'm going to go, you go drive, and just go drive, and just go drive. And it clicked. And she could drive before, but it's one of those things, it just all of a sudden dawns on you. You're like, I completely understand how the gyro and car work together now. I know how hard I can put it in the corner. I know how far it will go through the corner before it spins out.
Yep.
It clicks. And everybody that's out here doing it will admit to that it clicks and it just pops in your head and you're like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that muscle memory, right? Once the muscle memory locks in. Yeah. I'm curious to run a car with a gyro. I have an SR10 that actually has one in it, but they don't allow us to run it.
No.
So I haven't been able to experience what that's like. So that's one thing I'm really curious to try. Now you mentioned you have multiple tracks. So you guys are all working together. And I'm just asking questions that I think some of our listeners would ask.
Of course.
So I think you said you guys have a spec tire that you run. And I know, Ashley, you mentioned the other track that you went and ran, they had a different spec tire.
Correct.
What would be the reasons for tracks working together but having different spec tires? Is it because of the surfaces?
Yes.
Yes, and there is, you wouldn't believe, but these goofy little plastic tires, there is 50 plus different compounds between all the tire companies. And you're like, it's plastic, but there's definitely a big difference. You can throw a tire on here that's not intended for this or doesn't drive very good here and throw our spec tire on. Well, last weekend we had somebody that doesn't get to come here very often. He was trying to run a different tire and he was all over the place. And we go, here, try these. He put the spec tires on. He goes, that's all I needed. We said, that's all it takes sometimes.
What's a price line of a tire? Just not exactly.
Like $17 for 4.
For 4.
And they'll last for a while. On tile, they'll last forever. But
if you're not going to your track and at least above your registration and all that, you're not spending $17. You're not looking at the perspective right. You should go into every hobby shop of any track that you go to and spend some money.
Every time we go to a different track, you help them out. They help us out. Every time any track owner has ever come here, they've always
buy stickers. We mainly just have stickers and merch. We have sweatshirts, we have T-shirts, window stickers, window banners.
Yeah, it's just the right thing to do.
Yep.
It's a way to say, hey, thank you for doing that. Thank you for all your time and effort you put in this and in your passion and giving people a place to race. Yeah. They got to pay the bills, folks, right? The track is there for fun, no doubt about it. And I know you guys kind of go, we just want to race and have a good time. That's my job, to remind people when you go to a track or you go into a hobby shop, spend a little bit. Just help them out.
Yeah.
But again,
buy local. Just buy local.
So what's awesome about our people that come here, though, is even if they won't stop at the gas station, they'll stop here and buy a pop from us or buy a Red Bull from us just because it's supporting us. And a lot of guys, like on a weeknight where it's $15 for track fee for the night, they'll throw me a 20 and be like, no, keep it towards track. It happens all the time. And it's the love like that keeps these tracks and all the little places going.
What that is, though, that is showing that you run a good business. When you hear those types of things, people, they appreciate they've got a place to race, but they appreciate you. And anytime I've talked to racers on the side, and we never mention tracks or even mention who the racers are, and we say, why'd you stop racing? They never say the track. They never say really the fellow competitors. They always say, they just didn't run a good show. They just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't have a good vibe when I walked in. That's the track owner's responsibility, right? Is to make people walk in. Yeah, make people walk in and go, wow.
That's one thing we do. Every time somebody walks through the door, they get greeted by one of us. If it's not me or her, it's one of our kids. Every time. Awesome. And everybody here, as soon as somebody walks in, it's like, hey, Patrick. Hey, Brad. Hey, Bill. Everybody. You get greeted from everybody. It's a good feeling.
It's kind of like Cheers, like the little show Cheers. Like everybody knows your name. Right?
Yeah.
It is too.
Yeah.
I'm really good at remembering people's names. It's scary a lot of times. So people are like, "You met me once." And I'm like, "Sorry."
I don't know if I'm just getting old or what, but I have the hardest time remembering names. But
That's why I have my.
I'll never forget your guys' names because you're awesome together. For one, you can just feel, you can feel the love.
That's what happens when you marry your best friend.
There you go, buddy. There you go.
We got married at an RC event called Axial Fest.
Yeah, you ever heard of that?
Come on. All right. Hold it now. Hold it. We usually go 35 minutes. We're going way over now. I got to hear this story. This story.
Okay, well, Horizon Hobbies puts on this big event called Axial Fest. It's for axial crawlers. It's if you have an axial crawler, you can go to this event, but you have to have one. Well, they've been doing it in California for what, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, about 10 years.
The Badlands Off-Road Park in Attica, Indiana said, hey, we would like you to have one here because Horizon Hobby goes over to the Badlands and films a lot of their promotional stuff for their off-road cars and buggies, different kind of stuff like that. They go out there and film it. Well, they're like, why don't you have one here? Well, I don't know who talked to who, but it worked. And in 2020, right after the world kind of started doing things again, they had one. The first one there, and we went down and we wound up, there was a thing that said, hey, take a picture, put it on Instagram.
Post it on social media and tag us with your caption of your most memorable moment of the event. So I had this really cool picture of the sunset in the background, and it was orange and pink, and it was really pretty. But we had both of our crawlers right there, and I posted night crawling with the love of my life. And
we wound up winning.
So
Andy, who is like the head guy that puts on everything, he's the one that does all the awards and does all the speaking.
He's the event coordinator.
There you go.
Yeah.
He asked her, he's like, said something about, are you guys married or when are you getting married? And she's like, well, we're engaged. And he's like, so next year, Axial Fest wedding, I'm an ordained minister. And we're like, maybe.
Cool.
Just joking around. Well, halfway through the year, we were both sitting there looking. And we're like,
that would be really cool.
That would be cool. So we got a hold of Andy, and Andy's like, let me talk to Horizon and see if they're cool with it.
Yep.
So he talked to them. They're like, yeah, we can do it. So we went down and in front of everybody on Friday night, got married at Axial Fest and at the big awards ceremony.
Yeah.
Nobody knew except for like our friends that came down and our family came down.
Yep.
And they called. She went up there.
No, they called a random ticket number that was just his. And so he's like, Andy's like, you don't know what kind of prize you're gonna get. And he's like, what did I win? And he's like, you won yourself a bride. And then they started playing music, and I walked down with my dad, and Addie, our oldest, she was throwing little axial symbols I cut out of paper on my Cricut, and so she threw those down. And
our buddy drove a little Tamiya buggy with
our rings. So
on top of it.
Yep, he was the ring bearer, so he drove the rings down, and we got married in front of like 500 people that we really didn't know, and pouring our love for each other.
So if you ever look up on YouTube, Axial Fest Wedding, it's ours.
That's ours.
That's wild. I'm going to look that up.
See, RCing has been in our life. It's everything. All of our best friends are from the world of RCs. Mm-hmm. All of them.
That is probably the coolest RC story I've ever heard. And I've been doing this since the 70s.
That's awesome.
Is amazing.
You gave me goosebumps. That's cool.
Right?
Yeah, I did. You were telling the story I did. That's just the coolest thing ever.
We just got to keep going with it. We did the Axial Fest. We've done crawling, and we love the drifting. And now we're starting a whole new family with the drifting community around here. Yeah. We just want to make it bigger and better for everybody, not just for us to live off this. We want everybody to have as much fun as we do. Like, nobody's doing it, so somebody's got to step up and make something. So we figured, let's do it.
Well, it's just, from everything you've talked about, it just sounds like such a great, wholesome atmosphere and environment. It's like, again, like, why wouldn't you, right? And I was thinking too, like with Rockford Speedway closing down, you've got a lot of grieving racers out there that are like, I just miss competition.
Well,
And here it is, guys. If you're listening to this, I know there's a lot of them that do. Go check this place out. Go check out Twisted Lanes Drift Circuit and go see. I think if they walk in the doors and they see it and they see the competition, it's going to fill a void that they're probably feeling right now, right? And this is something you can do all year round. Rockford Speedway was only open 4 months, 5 months out of the year. Now they could come and do this. And I'll tell you what, it ain't going to cost anywhere near what a late model costs. So they could get their whole family doing this, and it still wouldn't cost them what it probably costs to get into the pits for the year. So, yeah. No, you guys just got such a cool thing going on. It's way more than I anticipated. That's what I love about doing the show. It's what drives me.
Oh, I can imagine all the cool people you get to talk to and the stories you get to hear.
That's the thing, and we purposely keep it organic. Like you and I, we didn't talk much beforehand, just setting up, because I didn't want to have the pre-story and go, oh, tell that story, and oh, tell that one you told me. No, I want to hear it for the first time. I want to get those goosebumps. The fact that you're going to hear that people got married at an RC show, that's just fantastic. Like everything in your guys' past, current, and future is just. It's off the chart, man. You guys should be really, really proud.
Thank you. We are.
Humbled me to hear you say that's what happens when you marry your best friend.
I wouldn't want to spend my life with anybody else.
No.
I wouldn't want to raise kids in this world with anybody else.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine myself with anybody else but you.
No, and that's another reason we want to build something big eventually, that we can both work at the same place together. Because anytime we do a project together, it's unstoppable. So I know we can make this big.
That's just phenomenal, guys. Phenomenal. Any manufacturers or anybody you want to shout out? Feel free.
So first person we want to thank is Crazy Joe's Wraps.
Most definitely. Joey is one of the most amazing. He's huge into this. He loved drifting, so that he
makes window banners.
He wraps cars. He makes all kinds of signs.
Yep.
Pretty much he can do it. But yeah, he loved drifting, and Ashley's like, you got to meet Joey. You have to meet Joey, because he would come into Hobbytown. And so I was like, okay, I'll meet Joey. So we went and sat and talked, and we talked about wrapping my car, and then started talking about drift cars, and then he came out to one of our events and had a blast, and then that's when me and him kept talking more and more and more. And he's probably like one of my closest friends. Like I talk to him almost daily, and his shop's right down the street, and he's been a huge supporter and done anything we needed to help us out with this. Yep.
And then John Curtis, who is my boss and owner of Hobbytown Rockford, couldn't do any of this without him as well. He let me stock the store with drift stuff to feel our passion and feel everybody else's out there. And
that's a funny thing too, is when we first started this, there was maybe a couple bodies hanging on the shelf and maybe 2 sets of tires. Now there's a huge section that people come in there like, whoa.
You got drift stuff? You got drift bodies? Whoa, you carry Pandora? You carry Addiction?
Some of the hard stuff to find. Ashley went out above and beyond and talked to these distributors and got them into the stores. Like some of these bodies that most people don't carry that are amazing.
Yeah. Next would be Carbon Fury RC.
Oh, yes,
he makes awesome carbon fiber chassis for a lot of the drift cars. So MST, Rev D, Yokomo. So he makes really awesome chassis, and we've just helped promote him just because we're running his chassis.
Special shout out to Nick Schneider. Thank you, buddy.
Yes.
And his Rockford Outlaw, No Prep RC. I think I said that right.
Yes.
Big shout out to them for helping us out and supporting us. And we got in touch with you because of him.
Yep.
Nick's a good guy.
And they gave the call. Yeah.
And now he's done drifting. He liked it before, but now he's got a couple chassis, and I have a feeling he's going to spend a lot of time here this winter.
Yep.
Nice. Well, challenge to you too, Nick. I'll be going. When I go, you better go.
Oh, definitely. We'll get you guys together.
Yeah. So what I like to do is we do these RC Underground road shows, RCU road shows. Love to bring the road show.
We'd love
to have you.
We'll do anything you need. Just let us know a time, and we'll get everything set up.
All I need is a table and some electricity.
There we go.
You just give us a day. We'll have everything ready to go.
That sounds good. We will definitely collaborate, pick some dates. That's going to be a fun one for the winter.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, looking forward to that. Nick Schneider better be there. Not taking no for an answer. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. This show turned out to be, not that I didn't anticipate, but just so much more fun than anybody could ever imagine.
Oh, we had a blast.
Agreed.
Yeah, I know that people are going to love it. And then we're gonna kick it off with coming out with the road show. We'll be able to take some video and really show everything that goes there. But video doesn't do it, folks.
No.
You gotta go there. You're gonna have to go there. We hope we motivate you to go there. Obviously, if Corey and Ashley don't motivate to go there, then like check your pulse. Because
Right.
I'm like going, they're only 90 minutes away. I could be there in an hour and a half, but yeah, you'll probably be closed by then. But I'm fired up to go there, meet you guys in person, meet your girls, meet all the people that are involved in this hobby. I'm super excited. Like I said, I've never been live to an RC drifting show, and I want to do it.
What a better place to come.
Yeah. No, looking forward to it. So we'll definitely pick some dates and get that all set up. Again, thank you, Corey. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
And just the best to you guys in the future.
Thank you so much again.
It was such a good time.
Folks, are you looking to gain a 10th on the racetrack or maybe get a few ladies like Taylor Swift in your pit stall? Well, I'm sorry to say that Carpies can't work miracles in those departments. But here's the good news. The folks at Carpies can definitely help you become the ultimate toy car nerd, just like me. How, you ask? Well, with their custom wraps and killer collection of official RC branded merch. So while they can't promise to shave a 10th off your lap time, they can save you 10% on your next order with promo code RCU10 upon checkout at carpies.com, CARPYS.com. Wrapping winners since 2013.
Papa Willie's Traction Tonic has been curing poor traction since 2016. The name says it all. If you're not popping wheelies, it's not Papa Willie's. Papa Willie's has become known across the United States on dirt oval to off-road, asphalt to concrete, carpet to hardwood, and so many other surfaces. Papa Willie's continues adding to their lineup with tonics for cold and hot weather, loose dirt to high traction, dry dirt, wet dirt, clay and abrasive surfaces, along with anti-drag bearing oil, tire cleaner, tire glue, pit accessories, and swag. You can find the complete Papa Willie's catalog at www.papawillies.net. Prepare for victory with Papa Willie's Traction Tonic.
Be sure to use promo code RCUR for 10% off your next purchase at Papa Willie's.
Thank you for listening to the RC Underground Radio Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your fellow racers about the show. Tune in again next week for more RC content.